Hey, it's Sarah with Reiki on the Run, and today I want to talk about spiritual teachers. I see a lot of comments going on YouTube, on videos, and other places, and just people commenting in general about different things that have to do with spiritual teachers. And I kind of wanted to talk about it, just go over some of the myths and the beliefs and my perspective on a lot of that stuff. And so the first thing that I want to talk about is that it is true that everything is within you, that you don't need to pay any spiritual teachers to get where you need to go, to awaken, to move through this. I spent the first several years of my awakening, I was broke and didn't buy a thing. So I learned with free books, with books that people gave me, with books from the library, with YouTube videos, with things like this, and never spent a dime. And that's completely possible. That's not a problem. It just helps to be able to connect with somebody. And I will say though, I would never want to have clients long term. If I'm connecting with someone and they're needing me months down the road, then we haven't gotten anywhere. I don't feel like there should be a very, very long-term need. So anyway, it's easier when you resonate with someone, when you understand what someone's going through, you feel like you relate to them, they've been through some of the same things, or you just resonate. I know a lot of you feel like you know me, and it's the same way with people I watch and have watched. I feel like I really connect with them, like we'd be friends. It's your tribe. You're resonating with people, so that's a totally normal thing, and it makes it easier to go through the awakening process and go through all these things when you can resonate with someone. It really, really is helpful, but it is not necessary. It's not necessary. And also know that you're not always going to resonate with people. I know that saying is true, that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, because there have been times throughout these years where I have wanted to listen to someone that's really popular and I just couldn't. It was like eating dirt. I wasn't there. I wasn't on that level vibrationally for me to resonate with the information that they're putting out. It's not good or bad. I'll say that I've listened to, there's a few people who I've listened to nonstop and then didn't listen to again for a year, and then I pick back up, and it's just where you're at. It's just what you need. If you are leading by intuition, it's fine. It doesn't matter that, whatever, as long as you are doing things to help you expand, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if you don't like what someone says. Oftentimes I'll see, and people do it to me, they'll leave nasty comments because they don't agree with what that person is talking about. And that's fine. If you don't resonate, if you're not expanding from something, there's no need to write any of that, because you're just not resonating with it. And sometimes just because something hasn't happened to you, you haven't seen it, you haven't experienced it, doesn't mean that it's not true. A lot of times people will think that, because that's not been their experience, that it can't be the truth, that they've just not experienced that or have a different perspective. So, there have been a lot of times where I think Esther Hicks is a good example, where I thought for the longest time that she was just batshit crazy, a complete scam artist. And then she ends up being someone who changed my life more than anyone else. And so don't get hung up on if you don't resonate with someone. Maybe you will later, maybe you won't. Doesn't matter. If other people are expanding because of someone, then that's fabulous. That's their prerogative. Just move on and find something. So the next one I have is, you hear people talk about spiritual teachers stealing ideas from others. Oh, you stole that from Neville Goddard. Those are the same principles as, whoever back in the day. And I have to say to that truth is truth. Processes that work are processes that work. And different teachers have a different way of explaining things. Like some people will resonate with me, like I said, and some people won't. And that's the only reason. Everybody's not going to go back and read Neville Goddard. Some people want to watch people on video. Somebody wants somebody that's more in a modern world. There's all different reasons, but it's not just that someone's taken all their ideas and repackaged them. It's just that truth is truth, and you learn all these things, and then you package them up and you put them out in your perspective. I have a different way of seeing things from everyone else. We've all had different experiences, so it's not that people are stealing from other people, stealing other ideas. It's that there's a certain amount of truth. There's a certain amount of things that work, and we are just explaining them with our little flavor added to it, our perspective, our reach, our energy. It's not somebody stealing somebody's work. Understand that when truth is truth, that's all there is to it. And you just write in a different time. A lot of books do kind of say the same thing, but in a different way. And it's also helpful to keep having those things hammered into your brain, because usually when we learn these truths, when we learn these ideas on how to grow spiritually, it's not something that you just read it once and then you got it figured out and you're good. You need to reprogram your subconscious mind. You need to imprint these things, really believe them, because that's what a belief is. It's just something that you think again and again and again, and it becomes hardwired and it becomes a belief. But in order to change your beliefs, you're going to need to learn things over and over. I mean, I go back, I have videos that I have made myself, and I go back and I listen to them over again just to remember and to put it into my mind again, those lessons and those things. So don't get hung up on, oh, that's the same thing as someone else, because there's always a different spin. The next big one I hear a lot, and I think back in the day, I used to probably say the same thing. Like, why is it not free? If you have all this spiritual knowledge, why don't you give it for free? First, people don't take free things seriously. And I've done this myself, if I get a free course online, I usually don't finish it. But if I pay for it, I am definitely going to finish it. I put my money there. I've extended my energy out. I'm going to take back my money's worth. I'm not going to, I'm more likely to finish. I'm more likely to take it serious. So that's one reason it's not a good idea to give the work out for free. I mean, these videos are one thing, but a lot of other stuff, that's a big reason, because you won't take it as seriously if it's free. Also, your time is worth payment. When I make these videos, I'm taking the time out. There's cost for supplies people have, depending on how nice their setup is. Right now I'm recording on a laptop. Sometimes I'm on my phone, whatever. But people invest a lot of money. They invest a lot of time studying these things. And so, I don't know, I'm sure you can hear that. I forgot to close the windows. But people invest a lot of time into learning things and becoming an expert. Not that I'm certainly not an expert on anything. I'm merely here sharing my experiences and what I've done to grow, in hopes, like you would with your child, in hopes that you'll learn from my mistakes, or in hopes that you'll learn from what took me a long time to do. Maybe you can do it quicker. It really is just a matter of, I can't believe I came from here and I'm here now. And I want to share that with everyone, because I was a mess. I was miserable. I was hurting. And to where I am now, I want to share that with people. So, but I deserve anyone in this field, anyone who writes books, anyone who does presentations, you deserve to have your time compensated. Um, there needs to be an energy exchange too. You can't just be a taker. You can't take, and you never give anything, because that's definitely out of balance. And I can't give, and not take anything back. That's going to be out of balance, and that's not going to be good for anyone. And a lot of people, to bring up Esther Hicks again, a lot of people give out plenty of free stuff. I don't know how many videos I have on here. Um, Way more I have for free than for sale. Um, so Esther Hicks, I listened to her for probably a year, and I never bought anything from her. But she changed my life so much. I was hurting for money horribly when I first started listening to her. And by applying the things that she taught me for free on the internet, on YouTube, a year later, I was able to buy some of her books, and I even went to one of her conventions. She had, she has cruises, and she has conventions she does, and I went and saw her in Orlando. And yes, I did end up buying her work, but I wouldn't have been able to buy that had I not spent that year practicing the things that she was putting out there for free. So I don't see that as a scam. I made so much money from the things that she taught that, yes, I invested more. And then, after going to that thing, my vibration was higher and more good things came. And so, but there's tons of people who I have never spent a dime on any of their books, anything. And I've learned so much from them, so much from them. Generally, if I listen to somebody for a long time and they really, really help me, I do end up buying their book just because I want to further my expansion. But it's not necessary. But I can't send you one of my books for free. It's got to be printed. It's got to be, all that stuff. So take all those things into consideration. And the last one I have is that spiritual teachers aren't better than anyone. They've just been through it. So they've usually had some horrible experiences. I'm so sorry if you can hear all that loud noise outside. Um, for instance, Eckhart Tolle, if you listen to his awakening story, and he has The Power of Now was probably, if I had to pick one book that changed my life the most, it would be The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle, whatever. I don't know how to say his last name. Anyway, and he was 29 years old, and he had dealt with depression and anxiety for most of his life. That was a constant thing that he dealt with, and it just came to this big head at one point, and that was the catalyst for his awakening. And so a lot of times these people, you look at Joe Dispenza, who got into a horrible bike accident on a bike run. I don't know what you would call it, like a marathon for running, but for biking. I don't know what it was, but he got hit by a truck, and his back was all broken up, and he laid in bed and figured all these things out and healed himself, and then made it his life's mission to study sudden healing, people who have sudden healings, and he really went into it from a scientific point of view, not from, the more spiritual woo. I think he likes to say he likes to take the mystic out of the spiritual or something like that. And that's kind of how I feel too. I mean, I'm pretty woo-woo at this point, but I'm also, just a normal person, and I'm a skeptic, and I like to explain things in a way that makes sense. It's not just, so a lot of these teachers have been through some shit. So I think sometimes we tend to look at, they've made all this money from their books, they've been on documentaries, whatever, they're just rich, what do they know? No, people who have awakened, Bob Proctor, who recently died, He's taught so many people how to make more money. He was broke as a joke back in the day. Totally, totally broke, making nothing. And he just listened to mentors who had gone before him, and on all those old books, I talk about like Neville Goddard back in that day. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. He adopted those principles. He listened to his mentors, his spiritual teachers, and he became very wealthy. And he taught other people how to do it. But he wasn't just born that way, and he didn't get that way just from selling the ideas, and they really work. They really, really work. And so anyway, so a lot of these teachers that you see have really been through it, have been through some crazy things that were a catalyst to change. They have that, what they call dark night of the soul. I never liked that saying, but it is, there can be a period in your life where everything goes wrong. Like you are getting divorced and you lost your job and you got sick, and, it can really be a lot of things thrown at you at once. And then, sometimes some people have done some really horrible things themselves, that have been the catalyst for seeking spirituality. And, Buddha, we know what you did. So definitely no need to put any spiritual teachers on a pedestal. I think it's important to use them for what they are, and only for that. And that is for expansion. Just like anyone in your personal life, it should be the same when you find spiritual teachers. If they are not adding to your life, if they are not helping you grow, encouraging you to grow, if you don't feel that resonating with them, if you aren't expanding, then it's not your person. And you definitely don't want to put people on a pedestal, because that's duality. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to worship spiritual teachers and gurus. We're here to learn from them, to practice the things that they give us to practice, so that we can be at peace too. So anyway, I hope this helps in case anybody had some of these thoughts or wonders about these things. And if anybody hasn't told you today, I love you very, very much, and I will talk to you soon.